So after living in Australia for a year, in the next 2 weeks, I will be leaving and eventually heading back home to the US. All right, and I'm officially back in the States. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why I am back in the States, especially at a time when everyone seems to be looking for a way out. More specifically, I want to talk about my reasons for leaving Australia, what I'm going to miss specifically about living in Australia, and any sort of advice I have for you if you're someone that is looking to go and move to Australia. So first up, I really want to talk about the good parts I experienced while living in Australia. For me, a really obvious one is that Australia is a beautiful place to live, and it was really enjoyable just to experience both nature out there and then the wildlife as well.
That is flipping crazy. Look at how big that thing is, bro. Oh, dang, homie's just chilling.
Because living in Australia, you're gonna see some things that you can't see anywhere else in the world. As someone who's grown up in the US, I think the biggest positive of living in Australia for the past year has gotta be the sort of sense of security you get from living there. I think the most apparent one in day-to-day life for me, healthcare still is more affordable in Australia without insurance than in the US with insurance. Editor Greg here. So I think I misspoke a little bit in this part. So I think it's pretty comparable getting a doctor's checkup in the US with insurance as opposed to without insurance as a foreigner in Australia. But the point I was trying to get at here, there's a lot more safety nets and kind of security nets that you'll get living in Australia, definitely when compared to the US. Moving on to my specific reasons for leaving Australia. Reason number one, Australians, or a lot of Australians, don't really like Americans. And who can blame them? We're loud, we're a bit oblivious, and we really like to make things about us. Meeting an Aussie for the first time, I consistently noticed, you know that face you make when you look in the fridge and you find something that's gone off, it's expired? The face that you make when you're going to suss out if it's spoiled is pretty much the face that most Australians would give me when I introduced myself as someone from the States. Mind you, this was over a year ago when I started experiencing this, and before...
Canada should be a 51st state.
We have to have Greenland.
That's tariffs.
You said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank
even
you?
My point in saying this is, now more than ever, Australians have some pretty well-founded reasons to hate Americans, and the rest of the world at large as well. To their credit, most Aussies won't really hold it against you, but they are going to be pretty wary of Americans in general. For me personally, I found this tough to deal with, especially over time, as I felt when I introduced myself, a lot of people had already made a snap judgment or formulated an opinion of me. I will say one thing that might discount this experience is I was living in Cairns, which is a fairly small, more rural town in Australia. Cairns specifically gets overrun by short-term foreigners, foreign workers I should say. But I talked to a lot of US friends living in other cities, and their experiences seem to be somewhat similar to mine as well. Reason number two, Australia has a lot of the same issues that you'll find day-to-day living in the US or any major Western country, especially right now. Now you might argue Australia isn't tearing itself apart, and to that I'd say you have a good point. But I'd like to argue for the average person in like day-to-day life kind of issues, the States and Australia are pretty similar. Editor Greg here again. I waffled too much in the original clip, so I'm gonna break this down fast. What's important to you as someone that might be looking to live in Australia is cost of living and housing costs in Australia are quite high. And that's nothing new. There's a bunch of better videos to watch on that besides what I could make for this. But my point to you is, as a foreigner living in Australia, you will be viewed as part of the problem by a lot of people. And it is something that I found I experienced a few times while living in Australia also. Well, I wouldn't say that the cost of living or cost of housing is particularly worse than what I'm used to back here in the States. I will say that both the combination of being a foreigner that's viewed as making the problem worse, and additionally not having the support network and the resources available to me as a US citizen versus a foreigner in Australia definitely made it a significant reason for me wanting to return to the States. If you're someone that's looking to move from your country to Australia to escape the problems back home, I think this is a big issue to keep in mind, and something I feel like most people on YouTube don't really talk about, especially people that make videos about living in Australia. And reason number 3 is Australia is very far away from everything, especially from home for me. Now, considering the state of things internationally, this could be a very good thing. But for me personally, I think this issue really came down to distance from family. I found when major events came up back home, I just wasn't able to justify taking a plane flight to get home for those things. Reason number 4 is work/visas. So I came to Australia on the working holiday visa, and it is a great visa to visit Australia, get a feel for what it is like to live and work there. But if you're trying to move past anything besides the basic backpacker type jobs, hospitality, construction, farm work, that kind of stuff, it is going to be very difficult to find someone that will even hire you in a temporary sort of position in any of these roles. All right, I'm back again because I waffled too much in the original clip. Key takeaways from this. One counter argument a lot of people will make is I was in Cairns, which is a small town, not as many job opportunities. I did apply to a bunch of different places in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane as well. Didn't get any traction. And I think that's not so much Australia as just kind of the job market and economic state of things in general as of like recent times. If you do want to just do the working holiday visa thing, don't go to Cairns. It was obscenely hard to get my first job there, and it took ages to get a different job also. Go anywhere else. If you're trying to get your 88 days, there's other places that you can do it, and then you can go visit or work in Cairns for fun if you want. But yeah, the difficulty there is just way too high. If you are dead set on moving to Australia for the long term, definitely look at the skilled occupations list. This is going to be the jobs that will qualify you for a long-term visa. Find one that fits, and if you don't have the qualifications on that list, it should list it out for you. Definitely get those qualifications where you're from. In Australia, being a foreign student for me was 3 times more expensive than the US equivalent. So definitely look into that before you just go straight to Australia and try and get your certifications there. So yeah, those are my reasons for leaving Australia. Riveting stuff, I know. Hopefully that helped you if you're thinking about moving to Australia or leaving the US, I guess. Again, these are just my experiences and my opinions. I'm sure people will disagree. Feel free to let me know in the comments. As far as future videos go, obviously I'm not in Australia anymore, and this channel has become kind of an Australia theme or Australia adjacent, I guess. Maybe I start a different channel. Maybe I keep making videos on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.